Okay, go ahead and find the page that says agreement and disclaimers, and then underneath it says policies and procedures. In my manual, is page 8, but just try to find those areas. It should be class 8. It should be page 8. These are just kind of like the technicalities that we got to go over together. So follow along with me as I kind of go through this. The agreement and disclaimer says, I understand that as a member and participant of this training program, that I reflect the ethics and standards of We Defeat seminars. I am learning this modality and obtaining this knowledge for the betterment and personal growth of myself, family members, and the ones I love. It is my intent to move energy and energy signals through the feet by a technique known as foot zone therapy. This will be done with the sole purpose to help others. I understand that this training may or may not meet the standards of state licensing requirements for the state in which I reside. I understand that it's my responsibility to understand and abide by all local and state laws of where I live and reside. By doing so, I also agree that I'm responsible for my own actions and do not hold We Defeat seminars and or their employees responsible for my actions, whether or not they are positive or negative in nature. Pretty straightforward on that, but let's kind of go over a couple things with this. Just as much as you are a representative of our school, we want to be a representative of you, and you have us. We will support you, we will promote you, we will love on you, educate you, whatever you need. The one thing I want you just to know is if you are going to make public statements about the school, please be mindful of what you share on social media. We want you to shout out the school, promote it, tell people that you're learning about it, all that different stuff. That's great. But what we don't want is we don't want you to show signals or techniques online. You can do generalized signals like saying like, hey, did you know that this inside part of your foot is your spine? That's totally fine. But you wouldn't want to say like the technique of like, we're doing a walking drill from the tailbone, we're working it way up, we're pushing the energy forward. You want to be mindful about the curriculum. Please be mindful of the curriculum and protect it because, it's our proprietary information and we want it to get out there and to help people, but we want it to get out there appropriately. So just know that yes, you can absolutely tag us, shout us out, do all that stuff. We love that. But as a student, you don't necessarily have access to like speak for the school. That makes sense. When it comes to the state licensing, there aren't many states that have regulations or associations or things like that. Utah is one of the only ones that does. We have our own association for the We Defeat seminars. And as a graduate, you will qualify to access that association. You have to have 80 zones in order to join that association. And you guys have already paid for your first 3 years in your tuition. So when we hit that 80 zone mark, then we can put you into our association, which gives you access to charge, advertise on a large platform and say like, hey, I'm a foot zone therapist. Here's what I charge for that. Here's what I do. You can, in the meantime, you can totally just talk to friends and families, things like that. And you can put on your social media. That's totally fine too. But you just want to make sure that you let them know that you're a student while doing this. When it comes to other states, talk to me individually about where you live. Most of them are going to be fine. The ones that are a little bit trickier are the ones that touching is a problem. So I've seen some problems in Vegas and California and Oregon, and it's because there's any type of issues with touching, whether it's prostitution or things like that with like massage, and they have to be very mindful and regulate the touch. So I will help you figure out what your state looks like and what we need to do for that. And then in the meantime, you can always still practice friends and families. And then if it is tricky in your area, we might just have to go the route of regulating you with like energy work, things like that. Because a lot of places will allow you to work on them if it's for energy work, which is funny because it's what we do. We are energy workers, but we're touching the feet. But then they're like, oh, but are you massaging them? Because you're not a massage therapist. It's like, no, we're only working on the feet. So it's a little bit of a process, but it's really been fine. Most states have nothing, if anything, of regulating it. And then the hope is if they do start regulating it, they'll just absorb the We Defeat Association and you'll just get grandfathered in. So that's kind of the goal there. Policies and procedures. Next section here. It says it's our intent to provide an optimal learning experience for each participant that enters our course. For this reason, we ask the following considerations to be implemented in the class. This isn't really going to be too much for you guys because like cell phone use and nursing mamas, things like that. So don't stress that out too much. And in person, things have changed drastically. Like cell phone usage isn't a big deal anymore. But we just want you guys to have the best experience possible. So that's going to be policies and procedures. And then the next one is going to be code of ethics. So go flip your next page, page 9 in your student workbook, and let's talk through those code of ethics.